Hi, so what I'm going to do in this video is a little bit of keyframe animation, but using the graph editor to help us with some of the easing. Okay, so what I want to do is take this text and I just want to enlarge it a little bit. Okay, nice and easy. You'll notice on the comp, by the way, the only thing I've got here is the text layer. There's nothing else there. So in order to enlarge it, I press S to bring up the scale properties, and then I can just hold my left mouse button down and drag across, or type in a number if I want to, and I want to increase it to about double, so about 200%. You'll notice straight away, by the way, even though it is increasing, it's kind of pushing off to the right. Okay, the reason for that is this little guy right down there, that little kind of mark. It's the crosshair thing. It's the anchor point. Okay, so the anchor point is kind of the central position it uses in order to scale. So if you think about it, that will always remain in the center. So let's just go back down to 100. Okay, so really all we need to do is move the anchor point. So if I select the text layer, I can press A to bring up anchor point, and I can move that anchor point towards the center of the text, and then it will scale up the way I would like it to, which is from a central point. So it's not moving off to the right or the left or anything like that. However, with text, there's an easier way to do it generally, which is if you select the text, you can see it's actually on the paragraph panel, it's left aligned. Okay, because it's left aligned, that's why the anchor point is in the left. If I just center align it, you'll notice the anchor point is actually moved to the right, that little crosshair that I was talking about earlier. I'll see if I can just kind of zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's a bit difficult here but to tell anyway, but it's like I said, central. Okay, so yeah, that's like I said, a nice fast way to do it. Now you'll notice if I go back into there, press scale and scale up, you'll see that it is scaling up from the center, so it's kind of coming out uniformly. Like I said, it's not pushing off to the left or the right, which is what I wanted. So we're ready to go. So I've got it at 100%. I'm going to turn my keyframes on for scale, and so I'm quite happy with it to be at 100% at 0 seconds, and at 2 seconds I want it to be about double, 200. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in 2 seconds in time, so it can take me straight there. So that's 200 for 2 seconds and 00 frames. Press enter and you can see it jumps me straight there. Then I just click in here and type in 200. Okay, and there we go, and we're back, so we're where I want it to be. Notice, by the way, I only typed it in one area, but it changed in both, and that's because of this little link icon there, that little chain link. And that's because with scale you generally want to constrain your sort of proportions. You want anything you sort of scale up or down, you want it to remain the same, have the same proportions. Okay, so you don't want the height to grow more than the width or anything like that, and that's why that link is on. If you turn that off, you can then actually skew the image when you scale it up, and sometimes you want to skew it, so in those cases you would turn that off, but here I didn't want to do that. So I've got the text now animating and it's getting bigger, and that's fine, I'm happy with that. Let's have a quick look at our graph editor. So to access that, we press this little button here, and notice it appears in here as a graph, and you can see running along the left here vertically we've got 100% at the bottom and we've got 200% at the top, so that's actually our scale property going up. And running along the top left to right, we've got our time, so we've got 0 seconds, 1 second and 2 seconds. So that's really what this bar means, and in the graph editor that means you can actually change the values there as well. So if I grab that, I can say, yeah, I want it to happen over 2 seconds, but I only want it to go to 150%. I just pull it down, okay, till I get to there. Or I can say, yeah, that's fine, I want to go 0 to 200, but I wanted it to happen in half the time, so I can just pull it back. And again, really you don't need the graph editor to do that, it's just another way of working. Okay, in fact I'm just going to change that to exactly 200, because you can see dragging it didn't give me the perfect number I was looking for. So why use the graph editor at all then? Well, one of the things I find quite useful with it is when you're easing keyframes. So let's just turn that off for a second so we can come back into here. So if you remember, to ease a keyframe, you right click it, go to your keyframe assistant, and you can ease in or out. So what we're going to do is we're going to ease in to that stop, so it looks a bit like you can see it looks like a bracket there pointing out, and I'm going to ease this one out, but however, rather than doing it in here, I'm going to show you that you can actually do it in your graph editor as well. And notice, by the way, now, because with this one we've applied easing, we've actually got a handle that allows us to bend that. Okay, however, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just ease the other one as well. So again, you can also right click a keyframe in here, go to keyframe assistant, I'm going to ease out in that case, and there we go, and I've got another handle there. Okay, so you can actually, like I said, do the easing in here. I didn't have to turn the keyframe, the graph editor off. I just did that to show you that you can do it in either place. Okay, and now that we've got that, we've still got the same thing happening, but again you can see how the easing works. So again, easing generally builds up momentum and then slows down again. Okay, so in other words, the more this line is sort of going straight up, the faster that animation is going to occur, because obviously up and down is the actual change, isn't it, from 0 to 200, if that makes sense. And you can see it's actually taking a bit longer to achieve that here, but then it's steeper here, and then all of a sudden it's slowing down, it's less steep, and that's because it's slowing down again. So knowing that, we can choose if we want the animation to happen maybe a little quicker. Yeah, do we want the curve to be even steeper, or do we want to make it perhaps not as steep? And we can change just how quickly that sort of animation occurs. So that's really what the graph editor then allows us to do. Okay, you can see it's sort of getting a bit quicker and then just coming to a really abrupt stop there. So probably not the best way. In fact, S curves I find for a lot of animations work really well. So we want to extend that out a bit. And again, you can see with that, all I'm doing is just making it a little bit of a slower change and then a very steep climb. So again, it should be a very fast change there. Okay, so that's another property of the graph editor. I would say just one thing to be careful about is I've got the scale selected right now, hence why I can see that. If I click off it, notice there's nothing there. So you have to have the property selected in order to see its keyframes in the graph editor, otherwise it kind of just shows nothing at all. Okay, so that can sometimes throw people.